Hello, my name's Elizabeth Egan, and today I'm going to present gardening as a metaphor for preparation for retirement, specifically for athletes. To get us started, let me introduce to you my mum's garden as it looked some 40 years ago. It didn't start out as much. It had a lawn, a few flower beds, a fence around the back garden to keep us little toddlers in. A couple of years later, we'd acquired a couple of more flower beds. My parents had bought the field out the back and the fence had been removed. We're obviously big enough to be trusted. Unfortunately, I don't have an aerial photo of the garden as it is today, but I did take this from Google Maps, and it shows that green lawn on the right hand side has become covered in trees and plants and shrubs. There's been a few more changes. The area out the back, which for a while was a glass house, is now a little hidden haven. The lawn below the house has been removed and replaced by shrubs and trees and a little hidden path. The pear tree has now started to produce fruit, finally. A water feature has been added. Dad eventually got that wall finished. The field at the back produces enough fruit and vegetables to feed a small family all year round. The place is buzzing with bees and birds and butterflies. Basically, it has become heaven on earth. So what's all this got to do with retirement, I hear you ask? Well, listening to my mum and her friends talk about how therapeutic the garden is in retirement got me thinking. Gardening is not really something that you decide to take up the day you turn 65. If my mum hadn't been working on it since they built the house, there would be no garden to enjoy in retirement. Or it would become too big a task to even start at that stage. It reminds me that preparation for retirement starts much earlier. It starts from day one. There are a number of other similarities between building a garden and building a career. It doesn't have to be a finished product straight away. In fact, it never is. However, we can make a lot of progress early on. It takes time. There are no mistakes, though there will be many changes along the way. There is no formula or set plan to follow. You don't know from the outset what it's going to look like in the end. It will grow with you. Not knowing how it will turn out is part of the fun. It'll never really be a finished product. It should be fun. There can be many different areas and sections. Constantly hearing my mum on the phone during lockdown saying, if it wasn't for the garden, I'd be lost, reminds me that life after sport isn't just about making money. It's also about having something meaningful and enjoyable to do. The best time to start is now. And so I've poured all my artistic skills, the little of them I've got, into what is very much a prototype first stage visual tool to help athletes think about their career in a slightly different way. You might want to write down some ideas for each of the parts of the garden as I go through them. First, we've got the lawn. What can you do now that will have a big long-term impact on your career? Similar to leveling the site and sowing the lawn, what can make a big difference right now? The tools. What things do you already have to help you along the way? The trees. What things are really important that you would like to keep constant in your life? The fence. What are the things that will give your career security? The fruit and veg. What things can you do to keep some money trickling in, either during your sporting career or after it, while you're trying to work out what you're going to do next? The fancy tree house that we all wanted as kids, but that we never actually got. What are the things that you've been putting off that you'd still like to do at some stage? Or what are the things that you can't do now because they might interfere with your sporting career? The relaxation zone. What are the fun things you'd like to do or keep doing? You may have noticed that my mum's garden didn't have a rose bed. Well, it did for a while, till she realised it was too much work. What are the things that will take a little bit more effort? The water feature. What are the things that will give life to your career? And the negative one then. What distracts you and holds you back? What are your weeds? I'd love to hear your comments, suggestions, questions, offers of assistance with designing a much better garden, anything that you think might help make this into a more usable tool for athletes and to inspire them to prepare for their life after sport now. Thank you for listening.